Federica. I'm part of the DocCity team, and it's my pleasure to welcoming you all to this live webinar of the Politecnico di Milano. Today we will be talking about a very unique program, the Master in Geomatics Engineering, and we will be starting by introducing you the Politecnico di Milano. Later on we will be talking about the program itself, and finally we will have the pleasure to have with us a former student, Michael, who will be sharing with us his story, and will also be available to answer all of the questions you might have. So please use the Q&A to write all of your questions, and for all the Italian students connected, there will be a member of the team answering all of the questions via chat. And now it's really my pleasure to leave the floor to Marina, who will be introducing us the Politecnico di Milano.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here today. My name is Marina, and I work in the international marketing at Politecnico di Milano. This webinar focuses on Geoinformatics Engineering, which is really a unique program at Politecnico di Milano. But Politecnico di Milano is an historical university founded in 1863. So 2 years after Italy was unified to a single state. And it was founded to train excellent engineers who would then make a fundamental contribution to the economic development of the country. And so is still today a university offering top quality education in architecture, design and engineering. So training really experts that are then brilliant in our economy as well. I'm trying to shift to the following slide, but it seems it does not go.
That's about live events. So it's no problem. We will try to see what's going on, and while Marina is checking on the slides.
There we are.
There we are. Perfect. No problem.
Politecnico di Milano is based in Milano, in the north of Italy, in the Lombardy region. It is Italy's most productive region. It is the capital of finance, of design, of fashion industry, of technology. Milan is really the engine, the economic engine of the country. And it is a very important city in terms of culture as well. It is a vibrant city offering many opportunities for work, for research, but also it's a student city because students in Milan can really make an all-round experience. Lessons go far beyond the classroom at university because students can do a lot of things in Milan to grow as person, and it's really a capital of culture, because if you think that if any exhibition or concert comes to Italy, it comes to Milan. So students love, enjoying the city life. In terms of architecture, for instance, there are so many historical landmarks. You can range from the Roman times up to the modern skyscrapers. Here you can see some iconic buildings, just to give you an example of how Milan is. On one side, you have the modern skyscrapers. Here you can see, for instance, the famous vertical wood. Or there is the cathedral, made of white marble with 3,200 statues. Or you can see the gallery that was the first building made of iron and glass, connecting the cathedral to the famous Scala Theatre, where you can listen to wonderful music or see ballets. It's really a fascinating city. Politecnico di Milano is very important, not only for education, but also for research. It is the Italian university that is able to attract more funds for research purposes, both from private companies and from institutional fundings. It's the first one in number of projects funded by the European Commission. This means the availability of many excellent laboratories. There are 241 different laboratories with excellent facilities. There is the largest wind tunnel in Europe that you may understand is very important to test aircrafts, helicopter, trains, bridges, buildings. There is a materials testing lab, the Polyfab for micro and nano devices. Really, it's a hub for innovation. And of course, this results in a huge production of literature in the technical field on specialized magazines. There are many, many patents that are used actually by private companies for production. There are spin-offs and the opportunity for students to be sure that they will get high quality education because our professors are deeply engaged in research, so they always keep up to date. If you want to have a glimpse at the research carried out at Politecnico di Milano, you can take part in a webinar series that we're offering in this period. It is called Build the Future. It focuses, it's a series of webinars on cutting-edge technologies that will have an impact on the future. If you want to sign for these free of charge webinars, it will be interesting for you, I guess. You can also listen to the previous ones. They are available on our website, and there were some that were also connected with geoinformatics, for instance. The next webinars will be on the 24th of May on the antimatter and on the 21st of June on archaeoastronomy. Let me spend a couple of words on the COVID, because all the world is worried about the situation. It's important to let you understand which the situation is at Politecnico di Milano. When the COVID bursted out in early March last year, within 1 week, Politecnico di Milano was able to shift all the lessons from front desk lessons on campus to distance learning mode. And at the same time, so that means that students did not waste any time and could go on studying without any delay. And also students who were about to graduate could graduate without any delay, but simply had to discuss their thesis, of course, from their home desk at home and not on campus. But it is important for students that whatever happens, Politecnico di Milano will not lay you down, will be helping you go on with your studies all the time. At the same time, Politecnico also showed its responsibility toward the community by helping the Italian state and the Lombardy region in the fight against the COVID, by putting the laboratories at disposal of the community, by producing sanitizing disinfectants, and also by testing materials for masks and protection devices for the doctors. So do not worry. At present, the situation has much improved. We have lessons that are in blended mode. That means students who are in Milan are able to come to the campus and attend lessons in presence, of course, with all the necessary safety rules, meaning wearing masks and keeping a distance, but they can carry out research in the labs, they can study in the study rooms, meet the friends in the canteen, and come and enjoy life on the campus. At the same time, all the students who are still unable to reach Italy due to travel bans or personal problems connected with the COVID, they are able to study by following lessons online, either at the same time in which the lessons are delivered, or if they have a different time zone, they can follow the recorded lessons. So no need to worry about this. Which kind of experience can you make at Politecnico di Milano? Politecnico di Milano is deeply rooted in the Italian culture and territory. I told you of the responsibility toward the territory, but it is a very international university. At present, we have almost 7,000 international students coming from 100 different countries. And here are the countries that are most represented. You see many students from Asia, but also Africa, Europe, and also North and South America. Why should you choose Politecnico di Milano? It is important that when you decide which university to choose, first of all, you choose an acknowledged university, but you look also at the general reputation of the university at international level. Politecnico di Milano is ranked by QS, which is one of the most important rankings worldwide, first university in Italy, 5th world best in design, 10th world best in architecture, and 20th world best in engineering. In addition, it has strong links to other very important institutions. It is a member of important associations and alliances with the most outstanding technical universities in Europe, which means higher possibilities of exchanges of students, of having high quality, outstanding professors visiting us, holding lectures, and so on. So basically, an increased possibilities of future employment for graduates and of making a high quality experience here. This is just to let you understand how the Italian education system works. First of all, we have 13 years of school, and then we have 3 years of bachelor's degree, followed by 2 years of Master of Science degree called Laurea Magistrale, which is what we are going to focus today on. Then you can either go and work, or if you want to proceed, you can enter PhD studies that last 3 years. Now, let us focus on our postgraduate programs, Laurea Magistrale program, equivalent to a Master of Science in Geoinformatics Engineering. If you have an Italian bachelor's degree, you will find all the important information concerning how to apply, when to apply on the Polyorientami website. You will be able to apply from the 12th of July until the 30th of August to start your studies in September this year. And you will be able to follow some videos on how to apply at this link that you see here. And a student who will be now replying to your questions in the chat will copy and paste this in the chat, only for students with an Italian bachelor's degree. But we want now try to focus on international students. So all the other students who have studied their bachelor in other countries outside Italy. Now, if you have a European nationality, yes, you are a citizen of the European Union, or you belong to the European Economic Area, you are still in time to apply for the September intake. You have time until the 27th of May to start your studies in September this year. All the other students will be able to apply from the 20th of May until the 20th of July to start their studies in the second semester, that is the middle of February next year. How to apply for international students? The application is very easy. First of all, you have to check your requirements and prepare the documents that are required to apply. Of course, you need to have a bachelor's degree that is more or less in line with the Geoinformatics Engineering, and the professor, no doubt, will be more detailed than I am as regards eligibility criteria. You need to have an English language certificate, of course, because the program will be taught in English. The first step is you enter your personal details, you register, and get a person code that will identify you throughout your career at Politecnico di Milano. Then with this code and your password, you enter the online services on our website. You fill out the application entirely online, and you upload all the required documents. Of course, you can apply even though you have not graduated yet. So don't worry, if you can apply even earlier, so you do not waste any time. But of course, it is important that you have more or less done the majority of exams of your bachelor. After submitting your application, you will have to pay an application fee of 50 euros. And then it will be possible to evaluate your application. This occurs in two steps. First, you are evaluated by the admission office, and then you are evaluated by the professor of geoinformatics. Tuition fees are for European citizens, just like for Italian students, according to the family income. So they may vary from a minimum of 900 up to a maximum of 3,900 euros a year. And for all the other students, it is a full fee of 3,900 euros a year. And the Master of Science, as I told you before, lasts 2 years. But we do offer merit-based scholarships. At the end of each call, there will be a committee meeting to work out a ranking among all the admitted applicants who have provided a valid English language certificate and who have confirmed their admission. And so scholarships are awarded according to the value, according to the ranking of the students, according to merit. There are few platinum scholarships of 10,000 euros, more gold scholarships, and many silver scholarships that are tuition fee waivers. In addition, there might be some other opportunities of scholarships offered by the Italian Foreign Ministry. For instance, the Investor Talent in Italy scholarship is very interesting, but only for students who apply in the first semester. So do keep in touch with us. We shall send you a detailed message in the next few days. So keep an eye on your email, and we will help you with the application procedure. If you have any doubts, you can ask questions also concerning the program or whatever regards tuition fees and scholarships. Of course, we offer a variety of events to welcome international students. You can have a buddy assisting you at the beginning. There is the Welcome Week with dedicated events explaining you where to go, how to move yourself, and so on. There are students' associations, facilities for sports, special offers for life in Milan to visit museums, theaters, and so on. We regularly hold free of charge for our students events on campus, so you will have really the opportunity of having a vibrant and engaging life, both on campus and outside. And there are also additional courses free of charge to support you in having, for instance, the so-called soft skills, the capability of working in team, of speaking in public, and so on. All aspects that are so important to enhance your employability. But employability is really the most important aspect, why you should choose us. We also have an important and a nice career service. Companies know that our students are extremely well prepared and want to have them, so they contact our university to have interviews on campus with our graduate students. And you can see the statistics concerning employability. Despite the economic crisis that is brought about by the COVID, our graduates do perform better than our other students coming from other universities because of the international reputation of our university and due to the fact that you can really learn a lot here. It is a demanding university. You will have to learn a lot, to study a lot, but it is definitely the best investment that you can make on yourself to ensure yourself a better future. So to know more, read the email I will send you next week, most probably. If you want to immediately get to know more, visit our website. Watch the videos that we have on YouTube under the hashtag Road to Polimi, so that you can listen to the experience of other students. But we have here another nice former student who will talk a lot about his experiences at Polimi. So now give the floor to Professor Biagi, and I will be in the chat in case you need my support. Bye-bye, thanks.
Thank you, Marina. Thank you so much for this very useful introduction. And as anticipated, we now leave the floor to the Professor Biagi, who will be presenting us this very unique program and also will be available to answer all of the questions you might have.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, perfect.
Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here and for your attention. Let me give just to share the screen. And I will start presentation. So, I'm here to present this Master of Science in Geoinformatics Engineering, and my presentation is organized as follows. I will give you some definition about what is geospatial information and why geospatial information is so important nowadays. Then I will explain you what is this new figure of the geoinformatic engineer. And finally, I will explain you how the Master of Science at Politecnico di Milano has been organized in order to fulfill the requirements I will specify in my speech. So I have just to show something about myself. Okay, my name is Ludovico Biagi. I started my researcher activity on the field of physical geodesy. Then I moved to models for the terrains, the processing of GPS data that now is GNSS. And now I'm focusing about problems of urban navigation and machine learning for landslide prevention. I am author of about 100 publications. And in my career, I taught almost everything about geomatics. Now, in particular, I'm professor of positioning and location-based services. I'm author of 4 teaching books in Italian, and I'm structured in the area of geodesy and geomatics at Politecnico di Milano. That is composed by 4 full professors, 5 associate professors, a certain number that I cannot see because I have Zoom exactly in front of my slide. Sorry, I have to move it. And 5 assistant professors and many fellows, PhD students and so. So, what is geospatial information? Geospatial information is data with coordinates in space and in time. Geotime referenced information. You see here 2 very important examples of geoinformation. In the upper right, a very old satellite image. It is an image acquired by Landsat 1 satellite, the first satellite for remote sensing in the scientific history. It was, in particular, it is an image of the Como Lake. It is a low resolution image, exactly as all the images of about 60 years ago were. And in the lower part of the screen, you see a new satellite image. It is an high resolution image. And you see in this image that is from world view, you can also see not only buildings and roads, but also vehicles and in some place moving people. I'm using this example to explain one point that I will explain in a few words. Sorry, I was a little bit confused because my PowerPoint did something strange. In general, what are the sources for data for geospatial information? First of all, the classical in situ sensors, for example, meteorological sensors, then observation from the Earth to satellites. For example, the GPS you usually use to move in towns is exactly observation from you to satellites, and satellites to Earth observation, images, exactly the images we have just seen, and then crowdsourcing, and then citizen science. And what I wanted to say, what I want to stress is that it is a very important point. Geospatial information has experienced in the last 30 years a disruptive evolution. In geospatial information passed from sparse to dense data, both in time and space. For example, this was the example I was talking before. The images from Landsat 1 had a spatial resolution of 80 meters at the ground. It means that every pixel of the image is a square of 80 by 80 square meters on the Earth surface. And the images of Landsat 1 had a temporary resolution of 18 days. It means that the satellite needed 18 days to pass again on the same part of the Earth surface. Now, the satellite imagery has a resolution better than 1 meter in space and temporal resolution better than 1 day. So it means that you can in some way continuously monitor the Earth surface by satellite images. Moreover, the data passed from simple data to complex data. In the last century, the images from satellite were just multispectral, visible images. Now we have hyperspectral images, we have SAR, we have spectrometers. In the picture you see Sentinel, that is a Copernicus mission of a European Space Agency. And this is a meteorological sensor, so it acquires images, but these images have nothing to do with what typically we think as images. These are meteorological data. Has been computed about 5 years ago that every day we produce more than 10 to 30 bytes of data, and 80% of them are geospatial data. So we can state that geospatial knowledge is for sure fundamental in environmental applications, but geospatial knowledge is needed by many applications, even beyond the environmental. And I will focus about the job market for geospatial experts. So what we are understanding is that to manage the new geospatial information, dense, complex, we need a new scientific and technical professional figure. And this figure is exactly the geoinformatics engineer. If we want to better specify the competencies of a geoinformatics engineer, we can say that he has to have geospatial, expertise on geospatial data in all the processes from the acquisition to the validation, classification, storing, analysis, up to the publication. And these are classical competencies of the geomatic engineer. But the geoinformatics engineer must know very well also the infrastructures that are needed to manage geospatial information. So hardware infrastructure and software infrastructure. So topics like computer security, software engineering, databases, big data, image analysis, web technologies, and so on. I want now to focus on a discussion about the applications for geoinformatics engineering. Clearly, we have very cool application, very popular application. The monitoring of the planet, the monitoring of the climate change, of the environment, meteorological monitoring, and on one side, and the sustainable planet planning, managing, and helping the planet. You see in this picture, it is a nice shot. You see our students of 2 years ago who participated to a symposium in Milano. It was held by a European Space Agency, and this symposium was exactly about the planet monitoring by geospatial information. More in general, there are environmental applications. For example, the land planning, the land monitoring, the management, the prevision of risk, like, for example, landslides, the prevention of risk and the protection against risk. And in general, support to the decision and resilience in emergency. Here you see a false color image that depicts the vegetation state of agricultural farms in Po Valley. But there are also other applications that are not strictly environmental. For example, in the picture, you see the monitoring of a fleet in the Mediterranean Sea. And in general, we can say that geospatial information is needed for urban planning, navigation problems at all the scales, from the individual navigation, you know perfectly. Navigation means that you use some tool to optimize your path from one point to another point, and you in practice for sure are using navigation tools. But navigation is also an industrial need, so the navigation of fleets, precise agriculture, and in general geoanalytics. These are a research topic, and in any case all the applications that require space information. So where a geoinformatics engineer can find a job? In GIS sector, for sure, but also in information technology, where the managing of geodatabases is involved, where logistics problems have to be solved, and in planning in general. In big industries related to Earth observation, it is a growing sector of work. And okay, less popular, less cool, but also for local and national authorities, for cartography, for cadastre, for spatial data infrastructures, for city and country planning. But also in big companies that need experts of geospatial information, even if it is not their core business. For example, telecommunication industries need geospatial experts, and industries that develop environmental sensors, and industries that develop information technology for the land and the environment, and then clearly all the research institutions on geospatial data, so Internet of Places, big geodata, sensor enablement, and I don't want to read a boring list. The idea is that there are plenty of opportunities. How we have organized geoinformatics engineering at Politecnico di Milano? It is the first Italian course of this kind, and up to now it is also the only one. And in Europe, I can say there are about other 10 universities, mainly in the northern part of Europe, that provide similar courses. In Politecnico di Milano, it is shared between environmental and computer science schools. It lasts 2 years for a total of 120 credits, and it is strongly international. It is completely given in English, and the international participation is very significant because we have about 230 of students that came from other countries. I don't want to show you a long list of courses because in my opinion it is quite boring. I'm just giving you general ideas about the general organization of the master. Typically you expect students coming from an engineering course and mainly from computer science courses or environmental civilian courses. So typically environmental or civilian students have some background in computer science, but very small. And typically computer science students have some background in geomatic topic, but very small. So for computer science student, a course named Geofundamentals is provided. And for environmental or civilian or other students not coming from computer science, a course of Introduction to Computer Science is provided for 10 credits in total. Then you have, at the end, you have a thesis of 15 credits, And so in the middle, you have 95 credits for other courses. And there are elective courses, for example, Geospatial Data Analysis, Geographic Information Systems. My course, Positioning and Location-Based Services, are elective on the geomatics side. On the computer science side, you have other elective courses, for example, databases, software engineering, computing infrastructure, and then you have optional courses. You have a big table of possible courses in which you can choose what is of your interest. For example, Earth observation in the geomatics side, photogrammetry, and on computer science side, image analysis, data mining, web technologies, just to give some examples. This is a point particularly important for Italian students. Accordingly to the Italian laws, the geoinformatics engineer can graduate in a class that is computer science or in a class that is environmental engineering. This is a choice up to the student. The student must choose one of them at the beginning, but can change the choice during the first year. In any case, despite this choice, any student, all the students in Geoinformatics Engineering at Politecnico di Milano must give at least 45 credits in computer science and at least 45 credits in environmental. I want to close my speech with something about the meetings with stakeholders. Before starting the study course, okay, probably you do not know, take into account that we started the study course exactly 4 years ago, so it is quite new. And before starting the study course, I was asked by Politecnico di Milano to have meetings with stakeholders in order to understand how is the job offer for our future graduated. I met research institutions, for example, the Joint Research European Council in ISPRA. I met representatives of GIS research or consulting agencies. I met representatives of the industry on GNSS, for example, Leica, and all of them were really enthusiastic about this program. But I thought, okay, they are really enthusiastic because it is their business, so they like to have technicians formed in their core business. I had a meeting with Telecom, that is the main mobile provider in Italy. I had a meeting with Capgemini, that is a consulting agency. And I was a little bit worried before the meeting, because I thought, oh, okay, I'm going to say them the technical figure we are going to prepare, and probably they will say very well, but we are not interested in it. It was my mistake, because exactly the chair of the recruitment of Telecom said me exactly what I've said you 5 minutes ago. Geospatial data is not the core business of Telecom, but we absolutely need geospatial experts to manage our network. And the same was said from Capgemini. So I have finished my speech. I thank again you. I give you the link to our website in case you want to scroll the study plans and the educational rules and so on. And I have to say something about numbers that it is not in the slide. Nowadays, our students are about 30. They were exactly 32 enrolled, I mean. The annual enrollment is of about 30 students. We have 32 new students the last year, 28 this year. And as I have said, about 20 of them are international students, the other 10 are from Italy. And our planned number of students in any case will not exceed 50. So it is a small course, so the interaction between professors and students is very well. The other point is who are our ideal students. In some way, I have anticipated something. I can say that our ideal students are computer science students or environmental and civilian students with a few background on computer science. But this is our ideal figure. In the last year, we admitted also physicians, for example, or someone coming from electronic engineering. And so let's say, in general, we expect students coming from a technical bachelor. So thanks again for your attention. I stop sharing my screen.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Professor Biagi, for the presentation. I can see that we already received a very good number of questions. We'll be answering just at the end of the presentation. And as anticipated, we have the pleasure to have with us a former student. So it's my pleasure to introduce you to Michael, who will be sharing with us some very useful information. So I really invite you all to take advantage of the fact that there is a former student connected with us and ask him all of the questions that you might have about the program and about his experience. Michael, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Federica. So I will share my screen. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I am Michael Montani. I don't spend much time in my presentation because the slides will be my presentation. So I will start by speaking about my experience at the Geoinformatics master course in Politecnico di Milano. I actually started as a BSc in environmental engineering, always at Politecnico di Milano. I am Italian. And then, I started with some an engineering background with some focus on environment and also few basics of computer science. Really few. They are quite needed, but actually also, the course is giving you a perfect knowledge of computer science. So I like to think about the Geoinformatics Engineering course as the perfect mix between geomatics and computer science engineering, because you actually follow half of the courses in geomatics and the other half in computer science. So you are going really into the detail of computer science, and it can be either hardware or software, depending on the courses that you are going to choose. And also I found it quite challenging because maybe if you don't have the background, can be sometimes challenging, but also extremely rewarding. So if you have an enthusiasm about the topics that Ludovico said before, I think it's a good course for you. And also it gives you really the skills that are needed in the job market. In my experience in the university, I've been also involved in a group of students called the Polymappers. So I had the possibility to participate also to many extracurricular activities that helped me in developing also soft skills, like public presentation, for example, but also to develop technical skills, like the ones that Ludovico was saying, so open data and crowdsourcing, specifically to solve humanitarian problems with the usage of mapping data. During my time at Politecnico, I've also been involved during the master thesis in a research project run by the Politecnico di Milano, and especially a project within the polysocial research programs. And specifically, I've been working on a project where I used open data and also artificial intelligence in order to fight an endemic disease in Senegal. So I've been traveling to the US. So I've been able to explain my research project to the World Bank and also USAID, which are, the two main, let's say, American humanitarian aid agencies. But also I've been able, thanks to Politecnico di Milano, to travel to Senegal. I've been there for 2 weeks, more than 2 weeks, in which, I mean, in that trip, I've been using geomatic technologies as drones, for example, to retrieve multispectral imagery of a particular kind of aquatic vegetation. And also I've been able to engage with the local communities. So this is, I mean, I think this is by far the best experience I had in my life. And also I've been able to work with, let's say, local researchers that they were guiding us in the research activities. So here I put an example. So we were flying this drone to study this aquatic vegetation, which is extremely related to the endemic disease that we find in Senegal, is called schistosomiasis. With the usage of machine learning, we have been detecting, let's say, this kind of aquatic vegetation, both from drone and satellite imagery. So I guess I wouldn't have been able to do this if I was only a computer science engineering or only a geomatic engineer. So basically, this is like the perfect use case, I would say, of one of the use cases of the geoinformatics engineer. So what about now? Now I am a GIS a senior GIS consultant at the United Nations Global Service Center, which is the logistics base of the United Nations, and it is based in Brindisi, in Italy. And what I do now is basically the same of what I was doing at the university. So I kind of left the machine learning part to work more on the humanitarian and on the crowdsourcing. So my work is basically to train local communities or universities, high schools, as well as people in the NGOs or field personnel of the United Nations in the missions, about the usage of OpenStreetMap, which is a particular let's say, open database. And the goal of this production of data is to create geoservices, which are both web services, but also cartographic products for the peacekeepers in the missions. So we are working in Somalia, in Mali, Democratic Republic of the Congo, Central African Republic, in Sudan. So we have really like a huge coverage. And unfortunately, I didn't find many pictures of us because of the COVID. I mean, I started at the beginning of January 2020 to work here at the logistic base. So you can see my building with these big parabolas, a picture of our group, and then yes, how the products that we are creating are used by the peacekeepers. So let's say my application is more on the military field, and also how we interact with the local communities in order to empower them and let's say share our knowledge. So let's say I started as a cartographer. So I was doing a feature extraction from satellite imagery, and then now I mean, after 6 months, I've been promoted, let's say, to the senior figure, and I'm now coordinating a team of 3 people. So that's all on my side, and I'm open to any question later.
Perfect. So thank you so much, Michael, for your presentation. And I really like to take the opportunity to thank the Professor Biaggi and Marina for the presentations. I can see that we already answered to some of the questions that we received. During the presentation, we did mention about job outcome after this master program. And of course, Michael is an example of actually what you could achieve by studying this unique program. I wanted to ask the professor, but also Michael, about which are the jobs that are required in the market right now that someone who is graduating with this master program could actually end up doing.
Yes, I missed this point. Actually, we have at the present, we have not so much graduated because we started 4 years ago, and we started with very small numbers. In the first 2 years, we had just 10 students enrolled per year. So the number of graduated is not so big. I have not a clear idea of what are doing international graduated. And but I'm still in contact with Italian graduated, and all of them, I have to be really sincere, all of them are working in a field that is strictly related with the study plan, on remote sensing, on images, on geospatial data analysis. So they really are working in something that is satisfying because it is not a completely different thing from the studied topics.
Perfect. Maybe Michael can give us some sort of hint also, maybe what your the people that graduated with at the same time, when, if you're still in contact.
So yes, I have to say that actually we among the students that studied with me, I saw that almost the majority or the totality of us was already working, let's say, even in the phase of preparation of the thesis. So once we were finishing the courses, many of us were like doing small jobs, like part-time in some startups or some small companies, which were, also those were strictly related to the geoinformatics skill set. So, I had this, let's say, this feeling that, all of us were, the skill set is already, really requested by the market, let's say.
My last 4 graduated, exactly the last in order of time, are all of them doing a PhD now or some fellowship at Consiglio Nazionale delle Ricerche. That is the Italian institution for research.
Perfect. So I saw there was a question about the software that you're actually doing. So wanted to check if these courses actually also involve some sort of practical activities, if you have some sort of laboratory, or is much more theoretical?
No, we have laboratories. In particular, I have activated, I can say I have because I worked on that. I have activated a course of software engineering for students coming from environmental, or better to say, for students not coming from computer science. I have activated a course that is more a laboratory than a course, in which they learn how to write code in Python. We have another course that is Geoinformatics project. That is not there are not frontal lectures. The student is assigned a project, and the student works in the project clearly in cooperation with a professor that acts just as tutor, not a professor. And I want to mention also my course that is positioning and location-based services. It is a 100-hour of course, 60 are frontal lectures, but 40 is activity of writing code, followed by myself. For example, student make a short laboratory in which they write a small code to process GPS data. Another one in which they simulate tools for indoor positioning, and in this it is classwork, but not in the traditional way to make classwork is the professor writes a result to the desk and students write on their note. No, my classwork is I give you a work, and during the classwork you work by writing code, and at the end you show me your results. Clearly, I'm here to help students when they work, but I don't like to make frontal exercises. It is boring for me and for students.
I think this is such a great approach. I don't know if Marina wanted to add something to this part.
The interaction, of course, is constant. There is such a close contact from between the professor, because it's like a classroom. People know each other very well. The professor knows the student, because it's a limited class. Of course, there are other programs where you have maybe more than 100 students in a classroom, and where you tend to have more difficulties in getting to know closely each student. Of Ludovico's program. I think it is one of the advantages that there is such a close contact to the professor. I just wanted to add something about the employability of students, of international students. Of course, we have been internationalizing Politecnico di Milano, I think, over the past 12 years. So meanwhile, we have a huge number of international students that have graduated at Politecnico di Milano, even though this program is rather new. So there are few graduates in Geoinformatics Engineering, but there are a lot, for instance, in the other engineering fields. And I must say that there are all possibilities. Some students fall in love with Italy, with Milan, and wanted to remain here. So they decided to study our language and absolutely wanted to work here. Others wanted to go back to their country and to contribute to the economic development of their home countries. Or others wanted to go abroad and to go on with PhD and so on. So all the possibilities are here. But meanwhile, we have understood that whenever students want to work in Italy, it is important that they learn also our language. So even though the program is taught in English, entirely in English, and at the university you can speak English on the campus all the time because it's an international environment, of course. To take the most out of your experience in Italy, it is important that you also learn some Italian, to have a closer contact with people and to take the most out of your experience there, to understand the Italian lifestyle and culture, and go where you want and really enjoy life at the top, and also to be employable afterwards. So now we offer Italian courses for our students, and we require that they get some knowledge of Italian before graduation, because we have understood that this will help them take the most of their experience in Italy and make them likely to be highly employable in Italy as well.
Thank you so much, Marina, for this. Actually, I've noticed that, of course, the Professor Biaggi did mention in his presentation. Maybe it's good because this program is very much unique. Just to remind what could be, let's say, the background. So I can see that some students said, I actually am studying geomatics at the moment, but another student saying, I'm coming from a background in electrical engineering. So I wanted to ask, in case there is a student who is extremely interested into the program, can they, still put an application through, although maybe they're not coming from an environmental background or from a civil engineering background? What would be your advice on this?
Fortunately, we are a small class, and I am very enthusiastic. So my suggestion to potential candidates is to write me a personal email with the transcript of their exam, and I will give them a preliminary advice about eligibility. Clearly, this is not the official one, because then they have to apply, they have to fulfill all the requirements, the English certificate, for example. But in any case, I'm available to give preliminary answers by evaluating individual curriculum.
Great. So I can just see that actually Mariam just said degree in mathematics. So in this case, as mentioned, probably would be the best just to get in contact so they can actually evaluate which other courses you took, because you know it could be the good program for you, but
if summarizing, and you are right, I'm in fault because I didn't write in the slide. For the next open day, I will write. Very summarizing, we strictly needed a minimum background in computer science, because we have our computer science courses are true computer science courses, are not something hybrid. And so, as Michael has said, and so if you don't have any computer science background, you risk to fail. Clearly, it would be my interest to enroll in many students, but it would be very egoistic, because I don't want to enroll students that have no possibility to conclude the studies.
My suggestion is, anyway, to apply to Geoinformatics Engineering as first choice and put a second choice as well, because in case you cannot be admitted to Geoinformatics because you have a two different background, you can have a second choice with another program that is more in line with your previous studies. So always put after Geoinformatics also a second choice to have more opportunities of being admitted to Politecnico.
This is such a great advice. I wanted to ask, maybe it would be useful to remind if there is some sort of application deadline, how the students that are interested into applying, how they should organize themselves. So is there maybe a coming application deadline that they can refer to?
Sure. First of all, we have to divide the students according to their nationality. At present, the call is open for European citizens or students of the European Economic Area. That is, all the students that do not need any visa to come to Italy, because you know visa procedures are quite long-lasting. So the deadline for non-EU students who need a visa was actually at the beginning of March. So it is too late for them to apply for the September intake. But European students definitely can apply now until the 27th of May to start their studies in September this year. So this will be the first semester intake. All the other students from other nationalities will be able to apply from the 20th of May until the 20th of July to start their studies in the second semester, that is at the middle of February next year. So what means they will follow first the lessons that are taught in the second semester, and then from September, they will follow the lessons that are taught in the first semester. But the total length of the program does not change. It is always of 2 years.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I actually wanted to ask Michael, because I mean, we have the pleasure to have a former student, and I think it's such a great advantage. I wanted to ask him if he has any sort of advice or anything that he felt like sharing to the audience today. You know, there might be students that are, it could be you, let's say, a few years ago. So any sort of advice that you feel like giving, any tips?
So, well, when I applied for geoinformatics, I actually didn't know even some courses of the program, because it was still, I mean, under creation. So I think the best for if you are interested to apply is to for sure have a lot of enthusiasm. So this is for sure the best thing, and yes, and also, I mean, with enthusiasm, you can also recover, I mean, very fast if you are lacking, for example, some basis in computer science. I mean, the professors are really supporting you, so it is not difficult, I mean, to keep up also with the other people that maybe have more computer science background than you, or I mean, you for sure you won't I mean feel lost during the course.
Thank you, Mikhail. And I actually want to ask a very similar question to the Professor Biaggi and to Marina. Any sort of, you know, advice that you feel like giving, or even any other thing that you feel like remarking that maybe we didn't have time, because it's very hard to try to summarize everything in an hour presentation. So
I read a couple of questions concerning, again, the COVID situation, the fact that some countries still have travel bans and so on. I just want to tell the students, don't stop now. This is not the time to stop. This is the time for hope and to prepare for a better future. Now you have really the opportunity of investing on yourself. So don't let you feel depressed or scared by the situation. You can decide something good for you now. And don't stop because of the COVID. I mean, first of all, you will start your studies in a few months. So in the next months, the situation might be better than it is today. So if you start for the second semester intake, so you apply from May till July, you will be starting your studies in spring next year. So the situation might have improved in your country and there might be no travel bans any longer. And especially it is important to know that at present, we have many international students who are studying at our university and they are still in their home countries because they cannot travel now, but they are following lessons online and standing for exams without wasting any time. So don't postpone the start of your studies. No use to do this. Start as soon as possible and start to build the knowledge for a better employment afterwards. So don't be afraid. Politecnico di Milano will not lay you down. If there is the possibility, you will study on campus. This is the best possible experience that you can make because, of course, it's enchanting all the opportunities that you may have by listening to visiting professors holding lectures, by attending exhibitions, by traveling throughout Italy and seeing the wonderful historical heritage that we have. It is an all-round cultural experience. Also, the Italian lifestyle is so pleasant. I mean, we are welcoming people. We have excellent climate, excellent food. We love to make friends, to go out and stay together. It is already a wonderful experience. Don't give up the idea of coming. But of course, if the situation persists, you know that you will be able to study anyway. So students look forward to coming to Italy to join the campus, but they are already studying from their home countries. Of course, now we have lessons in blended mode, as I explained. So those who are already here in Milan are attending also lessons on campus, are attending study rooms and, meeting other people on the campus. But of course, in a safe mode. So with a distance, with masks and so on. Politecnico has got a strong responsibility toward our community, toward our students. So we will never put you in a situation that is dangerous or will put you at risk. But do invest in yourself. Don't go on studying and prepare for a better future. And we hope, of course, that by the time you start your studies, we will be back to our normal life and hopefully fully carrying out all the research work in our labs and with all the events going on live and instead of using remote devices.
Thank you so much, Marina, for your very much encouraging speech. Thank you. And I'll leave the floor to the Professor Biaggi just for, a final remark before closing our presentation.
I'm a shy professor, and no. My only one advice is to remark again to people potentially interested. Please write me, because maybe I'm quite late in answering, but I always answer. So in case of any doubt, write me, and we will discuss personally the things.
Perfect.
I will send you all a detailed email next week. I promise I will add also the email address of Professor Biaggi, so you have the choice. Either you reply to me or write to Professor Biaggi according to the subject. If you need any clarification concerning the application procedure, deadlines, scholarships, tuition fees, write back to us. If you want to know more about the program itself, you can, of course, write to Professor Biaggi. Don't worry, we will follow you step by step in each phase, during the application, after the application. So, and I suggest that you attend also the webinar series, Build the Future, because it gives you the taste of Politecnico di Milano by listening to some important researchers on cutting edge research topics that might, make the change for the future. And you could, be part of it.
Sounds great. I also wanted to add that we will be sharing with you after this event a recording. So we will have an email with the link to the recording, so you can actually rewatch the presentation, take screenshot of the part that you are most interested in, and we will be also sharing with you some extra information about the course. I really would like to thank the Professor Biaggi, Marina, and Michael for being with us today, and all of you for being connected and for your very much interested questions. So we really look forward to seeing you soon, and I really hope that if you put an application through and is successful, you really get to come to Italy, see Milan, and meet the Professor Biaggi, Marina, and Michael in person. So thank you so much for your time and for your availability for today.
Thank you to the attendees for their attention.
Thank you. See you in Milan.
Thanks. Have a great evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.